In assessing our last performance in the season, it comes to a screeching halt. There will be changes. We're open to doing business and utilizing all things at our disposal to put together a strong group for 2024.
At the end of the day, everybody in the AFC North was sitting at home watching the Super Bowl. We're working hard to make sure the Chiefs or somebody else is watching us on TV next year.
The Steelers have their offensive coordinator. They're expected to hire Arthur Smith.
This is a bona fide offensive coordinator.
I wanted this job, studying the Steelers and what they're about. I couldn't have asked for a better situation.
Russell Wilson is headed to Pittsburgh.
Let's go.
The best linebacker now available lands with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Justin Fields is the newest member of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Pittsburgh Steelers select Troy Fautanu.
Welcome to the Bird, brother.
A lot to prove, a lot to show, a lot to do, a lot to accomplish. I mean, it's just a great team and great culture.
We're going to be clicking all cylinders. I can't wait.
Let's just be real for a minute. Football is our game, our business is winning. And we're going to handle business.
Here we go. This pass is caught and that's a touchdown. That's the way to work. Come on. He's hit that sack. The Steelers win the football game. Let's go. Come get it. You know what it is.
This one is in the history books.
Here we go.
Welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. I'm Missi Matthews. Bob Pompiani is out this week. It's finally the regular season. 2024 kicks off week 1 with the Steelers in Atlanta. Before we talk the Falcons, though, let's welcome in head coach Mike Tomlin. Let's talk about how we got here to this point, going all the way back to the offseason, free agency moves, the draft. Talk about some of the key additions that you guys added.
I think the number one thing you talk about is what we've done at the quarterback position, but not only offensively, defensively. I'll start first with Patrick Queen. We consider that inside linebacker position to be defensive quarterback because of the responsibilities that come with it. He's a hub of communication. He plays in all situations and circumstances. He's third down capable. He's a good coverage guy. He's a good blitzer. And so we're really excited about him. He brings a blend of both youth and experience. He's 25 years old, but he hadn't missed a game since he's been in the league. Obviously, we're very familiar with him, having competed against him when he played for Baltimore. So been really excited about his acquisition and how he's acclimated himself to this environment. And then obviously on the offensive side of the ball, we were able to acquire not only Russell Wilson, but Justin Fields. And both guys are fun to be around. They bring a unique perspective because both guys have been, quote unquote, franchise-like quarterbacks. They understand the responsibility of that as they get out of their car in the morning. They're comfortable in those shoes. We've had a highly competitive team development process between those guys. Obviously, Russell got slowed by injury, and that created an awesome opportunity for Justin to gain some more exposure and additional reps. I thought he utilized that opportunity very well. I'm really comfortable with both guys. Russell brings a wealth of experience that you can't put a price tag on, not only in terms of, living it, but the success he's had. He's been on big stages. He's had the confetti rain down on him, and you just can't put a price tag on that in this business. I don't know how many quarterbacks there are active in the NFL right now who are Super Bowl champions, but I imagine it's a small group.
And when you talk about, Deshaun Elliott, Dante Jackson, there are other guys too. And we're focusing so much on the offense, but what about those other guys on the defensive side?
Really excited about some pros that we've been able to acquire, man. Dante Jackson, we've been highly familiar with from his time in Carolina, man, as a top-notch coverage corner. D. Elliott, we're familiar with, particularly from his time in Baltimore. He's a guy that brings experience and know-how to the job as well, to partner with Minka. Dean Lowry started 9 or 10 games last year for Minnesota. We're fortunate enough to just put him in our D-line rotation. And I just think you can never have enough capable big men. The attrition component of the game, particularly up front, is something that we recognize. And so we're really excited about adding a guy like him. He's very similar to like Mon Adams when we acquired him a number of years ago, who's been an awesome contributor to us during his time here.
We know how much you love training camp, the 3 preseason games at this point now. What did you learn about your team during that whole process?
You know, particularly with all the new guys that we have, rookies and veterans, to get to know them as individuals is a major component of it. It's one of the reasons why we do a destination camp. There's a lot of informal time and opportunity to get to know one another as men. And I just think that's an important component of trying to capture that which is difficult to capture, the intangible component of teams. And so really excited about that. Obviously just some surface level things in terms of teaching and learning and getting to know, laying down some cultural values, things that are important to us and how we go about our business.
Roster changes always come, coaching changes, especially with Arthur Smith taking over, becoming the OC. What did you learn about him?
You know, it was confirmation really of kind of what I've already known, man. This coaching fraternity is just that. It is a small ecosystem, particularly at this level. You know, I've known him from some time and really had a great appreciation for his business and his approach to business. And I just think our time spent together has just confirmed some of those things. The thing that made him really attractive to us is that things that we value in terms of Steeler football, he values. And so it wasn't a teaching and learning component. It's really a marriage of similar perspectives and outlooks, and that's been reinforced, and that's been a fun component of team development.
You guys like to build through the draft. 5 offensive linemen taken in the past 2 years. What are you seeing from some of these young guys as you're starting to fortify things there?
You know, the talent is unquestioned. You know, they're quickly gaining the know-how and showing that it's not too big for them. Really pleased with Zach Frazier and you know, his progress throughout this process, and really have very little reservations about him as a rookie first-time starter going into this thing as far as worrying about rookie first-time starters go. Because he's just shown a consistent level of maturity. But the collective has been really impressive, and I'd imagine that support system of being in a community, as you mentioned, is 5 young guys. They get a chance to grow and grow together. I imagine that's helped them as individuals deal with the challenges.
All right, Coach, thanks so much. We'll talk about Atlanta a little bit later.
Awesome.
Well, the Steelers handled some business before heading to Atlanta. Cam Hayward signed a new 3-year contract, keeping the 2023 Walter Payton Man of the Year and 10-time team captain in Pittsburgh through the 2026 season. Hayward will kick off his 14th career season Sunday against the Falcons. Pat Freiermuth, who is entering his 4th NFL season, signed his 2nd contract with Pittsburgh. Freiermuth has played in 44 games, catching 155 passes for 1,537 yards and 11 touchdowns. His 155 receptions are the most by a tight end in team history over their first 3 years in the NFL. And still to come in the show, Steelers play-by-play announcer Rob King sits down with Alex Highsmith to talk all things defense. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show, preparing for the Falcons week 1 in Atlanta. And coach, a lot of changes for this team as well. You know their head coach very well, Raheem Morris, and somebody that you've gone against before as a head coach. But what does this opportunity mean for him to get this in Atlanta?
You know, on a personal level, I'm happy for and excited for Raheem. For a number of years, I thought he was the best coach in our business without a head job. He and I worked together, as you mentioned, over 20 years ago, shoulder to shoulder. We grew up together in this thing. He is just a well-balanced and really good, solid football coach with really good perspective. But he's not alone, man. They got 2 coordinators in Zach Robinson and Jimmy Lake, who I also know who are very capable guys. And, you know, it is a challenge in week 1 when you get a group that's new to a team. How they blend their personality and what they desire to do with the known resources or talent level. You know, we're speculating some. But I do know those 3 guys. I know the things that they value, and that's probably aided in some of this. But obviously, in week 1, there'll be some things that will be discovered in game, as it always is the case in week 1.
Kirk Cousins, their new quarterback, didn't play in the preseason. How do you prepare for him?
You know, thankfully he's been around a long time, and he's got a body of work that you can look to in terms of preparation. But he's always been really good with the football. He makes good and fast decisions. I'd imagine that's going to be the case, particularly coming off of injury, not only for him, but for them. But that's not an issue for him. The ball comes out quickly. He reads and diagnoses coverages and distributes the ball in a really efficient manner. And I think that's really his calling card, man, the efficiency component in which he plays, regardless of circumstance. 4-man rush, 5-man rush, situationally. He's just always had a really high floor in terms of his efficiency in a variety of moments. And that's going to be the challenge for us. There'll be no downs off. There'll be no circumstances for an exhale when you're playing a guy of his experience and caliber.
And Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake, they have eligibles to help him. What are you seeing from those guys, especially Bijan taking that next year jump?
It's a really nice blend of talent acquisition, if you will. You know, Kurt being a Grizzly veteran, a guy that's been there and done that, and you partner him with some really, really talented young people. I think all top 10 draft picks, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Kyle Pitts in the last 3 or 4 years are all top 10 picks for that organization. And so I know from a developmental perspective, they got a vision of packaging a veteran quarterback with some young talent and allowing that to be the catalyst for their offense.
What will some of the challenges be for your offense going against their defense?
You know, first and foremost, environmental. It's week 1. We're playing in Atlanta. You go on the road, obviously, in the preseason, but it doesn't reflect real in-season realism. And so the crowd noise component, how we communicate, the efficiency in which we operate is first and foremost before we get to Atlanta and the things that they do. And so that's job one. And then they got a tandem of veteran safeties that really specialize in getting the ball back. Jesse Bates was playing for him last year. We're familiar with Jesse from his time in Cincinnati. And let's be honest, he's been a high-level ball thief wherever he's been. He was last year in Atlanta. His resume in Cincinnati reflected that, and his resume at Wake Forest as well. You partner him with the veteran Justin Simmons, who came over from Denver, who also has a takeaway reputation and resume. They really have a savvy veteran safety group that I'd imagine they're excited about, that's capable of not only keeping a lid on it, but taking the ball away.
They added Matt Judon as well. What could you expect for him getting acclimated to the team in week 1?
Well, it's 2 things for Judon. He's not only new to the environment, but he's also coming off of an injury. I think he went down in week 4 or 5 last year with an Achilles. And so there's a football conditioning component. I'm sure he's healthy, but there's a football conditioning component that I'm sure he'll be reacclimating himself to, along with the environmental component. The great thing for him is, man, he is just a savvy veteran and versatile player. He's capable of rushing from both sides of the line of scrimmage. He's displayed that at multiple stops during his career. He's very quarterback aware and got a really good rush repertoire. So although he's got some challenges, he's got some assets, some tools at his disposal, and he'll be an issue for us surely.
Injuries are part of the game, but heading into week 1, your offensive line had to be reconfigured a little bit. What do you like about that group and Spencer Anderson?
You know, Spencer's growth and development between year 1 and year 2 has been significant, but not that we're surprised by that. As a matter of fact, we expect it. We challenge all our second-year players because of their experience, that lap around the track, that anticipation that comes with knowing. I think it's just reflected in performance, and that has been the case with Spencer. Versatility was his calling card a year ago. It allowed him to persevere and remain, his ability to play center, guard, and tackle. I think he and we were all focused on nailing down a spot where he could excel. Guard has been that spot, and due to the misfortunes of Isaac, he'll be given an opportunity to show that readiness, and we're excited for him and comfortable with him.
All right, Coach, we'll talk keys when we get back.
Awesome.
A little over a year ago, the Steelers were inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium for a preseason clash with the Falcons. Arthur Smith at the time was Atlanta's head coach. Now he'll be on the visitor sideline as the Steelers' new offensive play caller. And while he's downplaying it as a revenge game, His players say it wouldn't hurt to make a Week 1 win a little sweeter for Smith. Yins Chat regular season challenges are back. Who will have more rushing yards versus the Falcons, Najee Harris or Jaylen Warren? Head to the Steelers mobile app and answer trivia and predictive questions to compete against Steelers Nation for a chance to win a jersey autographed by TJ Watt. Remember to play every week for a chance to win the season-long grand prize. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Well, there were a handful of players that Coach Tomlin didn't play in any of the 3 preseason games. Alex Highsmith was one of them. Now he'll finally get a chance to get after the opposing team's quarterback, starting with Kirk Cousins on kickoff weekend. Rob King had a chance to sit down with Highsmith to talk about the Steelers' defense, their Week 1 matchup, and much more.
12:34 to go. Shotgun snap. Browning back. Steps up in the pocket. Fires a pass down the middle. Intercepted! Alex Highsmith ranging back. Dove and caught that ball.
Okay, Alex, first of all, how did the team defense respond, do you think, in camp and then leading up to this first game against the Falcons?
Yeah, I'm just excited, for what we're going to do in Week 1. I think we had a really good preseason, really good OTAs, really good camp, and so it's just awesome to see these guys, see all of us gelling together, and so I'm just excited to see what we do Week 1. So we got a lot of new guys, and a lot of guys are coming in and going to make a huge impact for us, and a lot of guys back from last year, so I'm really excited.
One of those new guys that it's hard not to get excited about is Patrick Queen. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, he's going to be the leader, the quarterback of our defense, and so he's a guy who's, he's a veteran in this league. We're the same class, 2020 class, and so it's awesome just having a guy who's a stud. He's going to come in and be awesome for us, and he's going to make a lot of plays for us, and he's got that dog in him. So I'm excited to take the field with him every single game.
You and TJ Watt have been such a great pass rushing duo and a disruptive force. TJ's closing in on 100 career sacks. You think that's a big milestone?
Absolutely. He's already a legend, but I feel like to get to 100, that puts you in a rare category. And so it just shows to who he is not only as a football player, but also as a person as well, is the way he works. And so he loves this game and he takes it seriously, and you see how hard he works, and it pays off for him on the field. And so that moment's going to be special when he gets to 100 sacks. So I'm looking forward to that.
Mike Tomlin saw no need to get certain guys out there during the preseason. Yourself, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, even on special teams. He said, I'm not going to play Miles Killebrew. I know he can do. So this provides opportunities for young guys. Nick Herbig, who made some splash last year, had a really, really impressive preseason.
Yeah, and we all knew who he was going to. These guys coming into year 2 now, and so he's, it's like his brother said, he's a stud. And when he came in last year, he's making plays, making splash plays for us, and he's going to do the same this year. And so I'm just excited to see what he does for us this year. And I think the 3 of us are just going to make a lot of noise this year. So I'm really excited for it.
Going into year 5 yourself, what are you looking for? What are your own personal expectations?
Yeah, just to be better just than everything that I was last year, and just continue to get better in all areas of my game. Ultimately, the main goal is to win the Super Bowl. So whatever I can do to help this team get to that, that's my goal. And just feel I've gotten faster and stronger this offseason, and so just working on my moves and refining those. So I'm looking forward to just going out there and stepping on the field and showing what I've been working for.
The quality of competition, the teams change from year to year. Atlanta made a lot of moves in the offseason. You're going down on the road to face them to start the 2024 season. What are your thoughts about the Falcons?
Yeah, they're a good team. They got a lot of new guys. They got Kirk Cousins in free agency, and also drafted some guys as well. And so it's going to be a tough game, but I'm looking forward to it. I know Steelers Nation is going to be showing out and showing up for that game, and so it's definitely going to be a tough game, but it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a hard-fought one, and so that's how every game is in the NFL. Everyone is everyone's good in this league, and so you just got to bring your A game every time. And so we got to do that going into Atlanta, and so I can't wait for that matchup.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. And as we wrap up our show, it's time now for your keys to the game, presented by your neighborhood Ford store. All right, Coach, dynamic kickoff. It's been the talk of the preseason. What do you anticipate seeing across the league and in your game on Week 1?
To be honest with you, I expect to see some touchbacks. I think a lot of us have analyzed it, and obviously, although it's exciting, there's still some things, some questions that remain in terms of personalities and so forth. And When you look at the average start point in the preseason, I think it was around the 28.5-yard line. There's a lot of risk management decisions fighting over that 1.5 yards that's associated with spotting the ball at the 30. And so I think globally, I think you're going to see a lot of teams err on the side of caution and not compete for that 1.5 yards and kick touchbacks and spot the ball on the 30.
Arthur Smith has talked about the physicality he wants to see out of his offense. Starts up front, but your run game, what have you liked what you've seen from Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren up to this point?
Their demeanor. Both guys have obviously grown up here, and I think they're grown now, to be quite honest with you. The demeanor in which they face combat and competition is really impressive. They never run away from the fight, they run to it. I think we got some real goons in that room, along with CP. I'm just really excited about the demeanor of our backfield group.
The biggest thing you want to see your team do on Sunday other than get the win?
You know, for us, it's week one things. We got to be clean pre-snap on offense and defense. We got to break the huddle with great fluidity, not have pre-snap penalties regarding shifts and motions offensively. We got to adjust with urgency. We got to be ball ready on defense. We got to do a good job of communicating so we don't have errors that produce plays. Those things are important. And then the cleanliness of play, the penalty component, the self-inflicted wounds, things that really kill drives early in the season because you're not seasoned enough to overcome them. You get an offensive holding call week one in the National Football League, usually that's going to kill a drive. And so you got to play clean. You can't beat yourself pre-snap. And I think those kind of things really provide a nice high floor in terms of performance. And that's really what has my attention going into week one.
All right, Coach, thanks so much. Good luck on Sunday.
Thank you.
All right, that is going to do us here on the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back with you Saturday night.